Hello everyone, this is what we're going to do today. We're going to create really simple, just the text, and we're going to apply some effect in Photoshop, something like this. Three-dimensional looking, like a theater, the marquee sign, jazz, live music, some kind of neon sign effect as well. And then eventually, we're going to create this type of animation in Animate. Okay, let me play again. Okay. If you haven't subscribed my channel, please subscribe and set the notification for my latest video. And let's get started. Okay, so let's create a new Photoshop document first. Uh, this whole process may be a bit complicated. There are the many steps, but I'm not going to skip any single step. So please follow me step by step, and then we'll make it. Okay, so first, the size of this document is going to be 1280 pixels by 720 pixels and 72 dpi, which is this setting is the basic HD quality, the video file, and create it. Okay, and then please download the images from the link I provided. This wood texture and the light bulb image. So open the wood texture first, select all, copy, Command C, and then go to this new document and paste it, Command V. It's okay, but I want to make it a little bit smaller. So under Edit menu, Free Transform or Command T, hold down the option so we can keep the same proportion. It's pretty big file, high-res image. Maybe about this size, maybe a little bit bigger. Okay, it's okay size, and hit the return. Okay, now let's type the word jazz. So please choose your type tool, and then my typographic choice is the bold font and 350 point. Um, any typeface is okay, but please choose something bold and heavy. That is more effective. And then please remember your type size as well, 350 in my case. And I'm gonna type the word jazz. And let me place it a little bit upper center visually, somewhere here. Okay. Okay. Now let's apply the very first layer style by double clicking this jazz layer. In your layers panel, double click somewhere here. Now open this and then choose gradient overlay first. Your blend mode normal, opacity value 100%, and the gradient color, I'm using this from a little dark pink to a really bright pink. Okay, but you can change it. You can use any color setting you want. Okay, if you want to change the color, open this and double click each point, and you can pick different color. Okay, and then the style, the linear, I'm not gonna change it this angle because I like it, and the scale I'm gonna keep it like 80%. But you can play with it and see what happens, and say OK. So now I have different color. It's the gradient fill is applied inside of this text. Before we jump to the next steps, I'm going to convert this to a small object. So I'll select this jazz text layer, hold down the control key on your keyboard, and click and convert to small object. Okay, now before we jump to the next step, we will need to create some kind of a pattern so we can apply onto this text to create some kind of texture on it. So I go to File, create new document. This new document size is going to be pretty small. 3 pixel width by 6 pixel height, and the resolution is 72. Okay. And let me create it. See that? That's the file. This tiny bit file. And then let me zoom in, spacebar and the command key, drag it. Okay. Now choose your rectangular marquee tool, hold down the shift key and select top half and set your fill color to black, the foreground color black, and use your paint bucket tool and click on it. So we have a top half is black and then the bottom white, bottom half is white, and select all, command A. I'm going to define as a pattern. Pattern's name could be any name. Maybe 3 by 6, for example, 3 by 6. But anyway, you will see the other thumbnail. So okay. So this is done. Now go back to here. Double click your jazz layer for the layer style and choose pattern overlay. This. Change the blend mode from the normal to multiply, and then your pattern is going to be that one. That's the one I just created. Okay, so if you have any other pattern, other patterns you created from the previous the project, you can apply it and see what happens. Anything's fine, even my portrait. Okay, and then angle is okay. You can change it. You can play with it. You can have some kind of diagonal lines or just a 0. And then scale, a little bit bigger, a little smaller. Can you see it? As I move this scroll bar, you can see that. Okay. Opacity value, we can make it darker, brighter. I want to stay somewhere, maybe 60%. Okay. Before we close it, let's apply the stroke, the outline. Choose the stroke and set the stroke size 8 pixel, and then position inside, and then blend mode normal, that's fine. Opacity value 100%, and the color is gonna be I chose the really kind of a bright pink, almost white. And one more thing is choose the inner shadow. Change the mode to the linear burn. Opacity, you can play with that. Maybe not too dark. Maybe somewhere 75%, which is okay. You can change the angle, so it will define the location of your light source, position of your light source. So 125 is okay. You can control the distance, how far, how close. Maybe not too far. I would say maybe a 25. Okay, and size, maybe not too much, maybe 10. I don't know. I think the 20 is okay. Let me set to 20. Okay, then say okay. So the basic setting is almost done. Almost done. Now, collapse this layer so I can save some space in my layer panel. Then next step is I'm going to duplicate this layer. Command J. You can do this way too. In this drop down menu, choose duplicate layer. It's here. Okay, just copy, that's fine. Okay. Then I'm going to rename it by double clicking as a 3D, because with this layer we're going to create some kind of a thickness of this text. So select your 3D layer, hold down the control key and click, and please choose clear layer style. So no layer style now, just the color is applied. Okay, then double click this 3D layer again to open layer style. Choose bevel and emboss. Style inner bevel. You can control these things, but please choose the reset to default. So we have really kind of a very subtle embossed text image. And now go to color overlay and choose some kind of a light gray, some kind of mid-tone color, like a mid-tone gray, and say OK. Let me collapse this. And then place this 3D text layer, 3D layer under jazz layer, because we're going to use that as a kind of a module for the thickness of your this jazz text. And let me hide my top layer so I can just work on that. And then next thing is I'm going to create, as I mentioned, some kind of 3D effect with this. So I'm going to copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste multiple times. And then I'm going to move slightly to the top left. So first, choose your selection tool and select the 3D layer tool. Then open Actions panel. If you do not see this, it is under Windows menu and Actions. Okay, so what we're going to do is in Actions panel, once you create a new action like this, create new one, it will start recording any click, any drag, or any opening and closing window things. Every single thing will be recorded. So I'm going to rename it as a duplicate. Okay. And then this action is very useful when we do some kind of when we repeat the same steps over and over and over and again. So we don't have to repeat the same things. Okay, now start recording. Click on it. Do you see that the red recording button is engaged? So now it is recording. So from now on, whatever I click, whatever I drag will be recorded. So first thing is, make sure your current tool is a selection tool. Your current selected layer is a 3D layer. Then I'm going to duplicate it. Duplicate this 3D layer, Command J. So that Command J, and then this thing is this duplication is recorded. Then now, in your keyboard, hit your up arrow key once and your left arrow key once, and stop recording. So 3 actions are saved: duplication, up, and left. So now, from now on, what I can do is I'm selecting my duplicate, my action I just created, and hit the play button once, twice. Just keep pressing, keep clicking. See? It is creating some kind of a 3D effect. And then let me turn on my top jazz layer. Then by using this selection tool, I'm going to move it to very top. Let me zoom in so I can line up better on the exact spot. Okay, I think it looks okay. Isn't it nice? Okay, and one thing is, as you can see that my excuse me, my layer is very messy. So what I want to do is I'm going to highlight all 3D layers. Let me select all 3D layers. So let me select the 3D layer on the bottom one, the very first one, and scroll up. Hold down the Shift key and 3D layer, copy. So I'm selecting everything, all 3D layers, and group it by clicking this on the bottom of your layers panel. So group 1. Let me hide it. See? And then I'm going to rename this group as 3D. Okay. Then next thing is, in order to make it more three-dimensional, I want to apply some, excuse me, drop shadow. So on the jazz layer on top, let me duplicate again, Command J, and then I'm going to rasterize it as just one single, flatten the layer. So hold down the Control key, click, scroll down, and rasterize layer style. Rasterize layer style. Okay, and I'm gonna move it under 3D layer. Okay, so we don't see it because it is hidden. Then open your layer style again by double clicking your just this layer, or let me rename it as a shadow. I think that would be easier. I can double click the shadow layer, or just let me click on this button, drop shadow. Okay, you see, normal, opacity value, you can change the angle, you can control the distance. Even darker, and the size. Maybe not too much. I think it should be good, like this. And say OK. So we're getting in there. Okay. Then next thing is, I want to apply some kind of vignette effect, so I can highlight the jazz text only. So I want to make the background images a little bit dark around my text. So let me highlight my layer 1, which is my wooden texture layer. Excuse me. And then create a new layer on top of that. Now choose your elliptical marquee tool and set the feather option to 100%. That means we will have kind of really softened edges. Then select just draw the oval like this, kind of a hanging over your jazz text. Maybe like this. Okay. Now go to select menu, choose inverse, then go to edit fill in black. Okay, let me deselect it. Then I'm going to control the opacity value of that layer. It's too dark still. Maybe I would go 60%. 60. Okay, I think it's getting cooler now. Okay, next thing is I want to have another text, which is the live music, and want to apply some neon sign effect. Okay, so first, let me select the top layer, and I'm going to type live music, but this time keep pressing your type tool, and then choose the last one, horizontal type mask tool. Okay, and click, and just a type for now, which is okay. Live music. Let me highlight it, and then let me open my character palette. I'm gonna change my type size to 100, and then my font choice. This time I'm gonna choose some kind of like a script style, so I can have some typographic contrast between the really bold and the blocky and angular jazz text versus our really cursive and smooth typeface. Okay, I think it looks good. Let me change the tool. See that? Live music as a selection. I can relocate it. Maybe it's okay. Now, there are a lot of different ways of creating the neon sign effect, but I think this is a kind of the simplest and the easiest way. So first the thing is, once you have your selection, go to Path panel, then drop down menu, choose Make Work Path. I'm gonna keep the 1.0, the tolerance rate. So okay. So now this is a path. So first the thing is, I'm gonna change my the foreground color to dark blue, not too dark. Okay. Say okay, and now choose your brush tool, paintbrush, and then change your brush size to 20 pixels and 0% of a hardness. Okay. Select your work path. Oh, by the way, before we apply that, create a new layer on top. Okay. So we can have this neon sign effect on the new layer. Now go to Path panel, Work Path, and click on the drop down menu and choose Stroke Path. So then the 20 pixel size dark blue will be applied in the 60% of opacity value. So you can control this one too, 60% or 100%, but I think 100% is too dark. So on Path again, Stroke Path, brush. See, it looks kind of a little odd. We're going to apply two more colors. So this time, change your foreground color to really bright blue. Then change your brush size, half size, like a 10 pixels. Okay. Now in your path panel, select your path, stroke path with brush. Let's do one more. Change your fill color and the foreground color to almost white, very, very bright, white, bluish white. I'm gonna change my brush size down to 3 pixels this time. Now select your work path again and stroke path, brush. See? So it is a very kind of a simple way to create this kind of neon sign effect. And next step is we will need to have some light bulbs in the jazz, the letter form. So this is the other light bulb we're gonna use. So place your mouse cursor in the center of your light bulb. Hold down the Option, click and Shift. Hold on a second. No feather. Place your mouse cursor in the middle. Option, click, Shift. Doesn't have to be very accurate, but yep. So as close as you can get. Okay. And copy. Command C. And on top layer, paste it. Command V, which is pretty big. And then under Edit menu, Free Transform, I'm gonna make it smaller by holding down the Option and drag it. And let me zoom in. Still too big. Make it even smaller. And even smaller. I think that should be fine. Okay. Then I'm going to apply some little effect on it to make it kind of a shiny and blinking, the light bulb. So on this layer, my first light bulb, and open layer style, try outer glow. I set my color to yellowish color, and then change the opacity value a little bit brighter. I would say 70%. And okay, I think it looks good. Okay, yep. And then I'm going to rasterize that layer. Hold on the Control or right click, and then rasterize layer style. So I just need to arrange it. So let me place it on my letter J first. Zoom in. Okay. Place on the some good location. Hold down the Option, click, and drag it just to make a copy. Maybe like that. So on this way, you can have multiple light bulbs in the letter, and maybe you can just get the kind of the better position for each light. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward these steps so we can save some time. Okay, I think I'm done. Okay, so I have the multiple light bulbs, but I think my layers panel is so messy, so I'm going to make it simpler. So let me highlight, select all layers of the light bulbs, and then let me merge layers. And I'm going to rename it as bulbs. Okay, so I think we're all set. We have this effect. And as I showed you at the very beginning, some animation, starting from the black and white version and bouncing and then revealing these full color images, we need to create those two layers again. So highlight the top layer. I'm gonna type the jazz first, and then my font was the bold font, and then the size was 350. I'm going to place it on top of that. It's okay. Now I need to type live music too. It's way too big. Was 100 point, and then my typographic choice was this, and now I'm gonna type live music, and let me just overlay on top of my neon sign effect. Okay, so it looks good. So now what we need to do is we need to save it as a two separate file. One is a black and white version, another one is a color version. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide all layers but top two and then the bottom white layer. And then go to File, Export, Save for Web. I'm going to save it as, I'm going to save it just on my desktop for now. Jazz _ black and white. Then I need to save my color version. So just hide top two layers. Now go to File again, Export, Save for Web. I'm going to save it as a JPEG. Jazz _ CLR, color. Okay, so now we're ready to move to Adobe Animate to animate this, to create the video file. Okay, so we have saved the black and white version and then the color version of Jazz, and then now I'm opening the new animate file, so we can animate it. We can create the video file. So create new file in Animate, 1280 pixel by 720 pixel, the same size, and 24 frame rate. I'm just gonna keep it, and platform type really doesn't matter this time. I'm gonna choose the just ActionScript 3.0 and create it. Okay, and let me double click my hand tool so I can the screen fit to window. I'm gonna make it even a little bit smaller, like 50%. It's good. Now open library, and then there are two files we just saved as a JPEG file. One was black and white version, another one was a color. Okay, then select both and drag and drop to your library directly. So we have a black and white and we have a color. Select both, drag it to your stage directly and drop it. Okay, then go to Properties menu, set the 0 point, X and Y. Okay, so still these two images are selected, and then go to Modify, Timeline, and Distribute to Layers. Okay, so we have a black and white and we have a color, but your black and white one is supposed to be on the bottom layer, so just move it down. like this. Okay, so we're going to create about kind of a 4-second animation for now at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight 4-second mark of these two. Okay, and then just to insert a keyframe so we can keep it. We're not going to animate at this point. We're not going to animate the jazz text at all. Okay, then highlight the top layer and create a new layer on top. In this new layer, please draw one rectangle, and then your the fill color could be any color. Really doesn't matter. My color is red for now. I'm gonna choose anyway black, and draw a rectangle little bit bigger than your stage size, so it can cover your entire stage. We don't see it. So I want to see what's happening on the bottom. So let me select this black rectangle, and then I'm going to convert this as the either graphic symbol or movie clip symbol, so I can change the opacity value, so I can see the images behind. So in your properties panel, choose this button, convert to symbol. As a graphic, either one's fine, graphic or movie clip symbol. I'm gonna just leave it as a graphic symbol. Let me rename it as a box. Once you convert to a symbol, now in your properties panel, you can change the color effect and choose the alpha. So it's a kind of a transparent. Then, once you have that, select your transparent box on this top layer and move it out of stage. Okay, then now we're gonna move it. So highlight the 1 second mark, which is a frame number 24 on your top layer. Insert a keyframe. Hold down the Control key and place your mouse cursor somewhere in between. Control key or right click and just click. And create classic twin. And on my second keyframe, 1 second mark, choose your black box and move it and try to cover maybe a little bit over half, like this, somewhere here. So it is coming in. Okay, and then like I showed you, I want to have some kind of bouncing effect. So maybe frame number 35, highlight it, insert the keyframe, place your mouse cursor somewhere in between the second and the third keyframe, hold down the Control or right click and create classic twin. Then select the frame number 35, the third keyframe, and now move this black box back, kind of bouncing back to here. See? Like this. Okay. Now, highlight the frame number maybe 60. Insert another keyframe. Place your mouse cursor somewhere in between. Control key or right click and insert the create classic twin. So after here, I want to push even further, somewhere like this. So watch this. Coming in, bouncing back, and covering even more. So far. Okay. Now, highlight 1 second mark. Insert another keyframe because I'm going to bounce it again. Hold down the Control key or right click and place your mouse cursor somewhere in between and click Classic Tween. On this new keyframe, I'm going to move it back a little less than we did for the first one. Just like this. So bouncing back. Now, highlight the 4-second mark, insert another keyframe, place your mouse cursor in between, hold down the Control or right click, and create Classic Tween. On 4-second mark, now I'm going to move this box to cover my entire stage. So watch this. Bouncing, bouncing back, and covering. Bouncing, bouncing, and covering. It's okay, but it's not that dynamic. So I'm going to control the speed on each keyframe by changing the ease option. So on my first keyframe of this box layer, highlight the frame. In your properties panel, you will see that classic ease, and then set the first keyframes -100, -100. My second keyframe, +100. Next keyframe, -100. And the next one, positive. And the last one, -100. And see what happens. Is it more dynamic and organic? Is it nice? Doing, doing. Okay. So there's only one thing left, one last step. In the timeline panel, highlight your top layer, which you have your box layer, and then hold down the Control key or right click. You will see the drop down menu and choose the mask. That's it. Doing, doing, covering. Okay? Yeah. And let me save this file first. Save as, I'm going to save as a jazz.fla. Okay. And let me test the movie under Control and test the movie. Yeah, so it's not too bad. It is working. But the problem is, if I upload this on my Instagram, it will keep repeating like this. And then I want to give some kind of little more time delay because once it reveals my entire effect, I want to make it stay a little longer, like a 3 or 4 seconds, and repeat again. So we have the 4-second duration now. So I want to make it stay maybe 4 more seconds. So 8-second mark, highlight all frames on 8-second mark of all layers and insert the keyframe. And let me test the movie again. Control, test the movie. Ding, ding, and covering 1, 2, 3, 4. And again. Okay. Looks good. And then next step is go to File. I'm going to export as the video file. Export, video and media. Okay, So 1280 pixel by 720 pixel, and then not gonna change just the entire movie, and then make sure your format is H.264, and then YouTube 720p HD. Okay, then choose your destination where you want to save it. For now, I'm gonna save it on my desktop. Save it. Check Start Adobe Media Encoder Render Queue immediately. Check this one. And export. I think it is, yep, it is done. So let me check my desktop, jazz.mp4. Yes, yep, okay. And 4 seconds more. Okay, so that's it. I hope the end of this I didn't miss I didn't skip any steps. If it doesn't work, please leave a comment, any questions you have. Hopefully you like it. And thanks for watching and see you next time.